Go. Hey y'all, my name is Justin Frank, and I am here to give my initial impressions and first thoughts and review of the Nitecore EDC29, a really awesome light that's doing a lot of things differently and innovating in a way that's really a lot of fun and makes for an excellent light in my opinion. Very impressed so far. So let's jump into it. I wanted to, start off with maybe some comparisons. And this is a larger light. It is flat, so it does sit in the pocket a little bit easier than some lights this size, but it does stick out pretty far. So it is a bigger size, a bigger print in your pocket. But, it's still in that realm where I think you could carry it. I would compare it to a light like this. This is the Warrior 3S from OLED. Again, a larger light, you're getting more power, more features, and, it's still carryable, but it's kind of at that upper limit, at least for me, on an everyday basis. So that's kind of where I would put this light. Anything bigger than this, like you get into lights like the JAO light here, and that's more of like a specialty or hunting, walking, whatever you want to use it for, but not something you're going to carry every day. So, I got this light basically trying to explore what was the best carryable light that I could EDC that had high output, good features, could be used tactically. And this is the one that I was really drawn to. I did a lot of research. I own flashlights from many, many different brands. I'm really big into EDC. And, I came to this light and the other ones in the series, the 23, 25, 27, and I was really torn, but I did look at some reviews from other YouTubers and, read some stuff online about it, and, I came to the conclusion that while this one is bigger, the output difference is worth it. It's not that much bigger, and holding it in my hand, it actually feels smaller than I initially thought it would. It's a little bit slimmer than I thought as well. I mean, up here by the head where the emitters are, it's a little bit thicker, but the actual majority of the body is nice and thin, and I do really appreciate that. I do appreciate the grip here. I mean, there's a lot of attention to detail with this light that I really noticed right off the bat. One thing that I thought was really cool and really innovative was this physical metal lockout switch. And that way the light's never going to turn on. It's dependable, it's easy, it's quick, and I think that's really cool, and I don't think I've ever seen that on another light. So props to Nitecore for listening to the feedback of their users and customers and incorporating that. And one really cool thing about this too is that there is full lockout, so if you push it into up position, none of the buttons work. It's full lockout, but after reading the manual, I learned there's actually a semi-lockout that deactivates the main power button, this taller one, but leaves the searchlight / Lumen shield button, the recessed one, available for use. And the way you get to that is that you put it into regular use mode, and then you press and hold the short button here with the Lumen shield, and then you slide up, and that will put it into semi-lock mode. And you can even see you see semi-lock, and to disable that you just flick down like you normally would, and that just stays disabled semi-lock, and then you can just put it back in the regular full lock with that. But just the versatility and the options right there, if you want to keep the tactical features available, but reduce the ability for it to turn on in your pocket, especially with this larger button that's easier to push. I think that's really cool, and just another way that they're looking out for you. One big knock I will have to this flashlight off the bat is that it's only IP54 rated, so it can resist like water being splashed on it, but it cannot handle full submersion, and that's really unfortunate because this light pretty much has everything else going for it but that. And I just feel like they have this rubber cover for the USB-C port. That's how you charge the light. It does have an internal 2500 milliamp battery that's non-removable. If they would have just built like a metal thing here, or incorporated an O-ring, or just built this out a little bit better. I mean, the rest of the light has such a high build quality that I just think if they would have just invested in that a little bit more, that the light could have had a higher water resistance and dust resistance. So now moving on to the emitters. These are really cool and unique, something that I really like a lot and really drew me to the light. So you have two primary emitters in the middle of each of the two bezels. You can see that when I turn on moonlight mode. Put the half press to the main power button, that only the middle one turns on. But you do have also 8 secondary LEDs that surround the main emitter, and from what I've gathered using it so far, it only uses the single center emitters for the 15 ultra low and the 100 regular low. When you switch to medium, it does turn on those extra emitters, the 8 on each side, for a total of 18 because you count the 2 in the middle, and then everywhere from there up does incorporate those. I don't know if the searchlight uses them or not actually, because that's more of a throw, but basically the Lumen shield is the searchlight mode with the center emitters maxing out, and then all 8 of the surrounding emitters sending that wide flood that looks really great. And I will attach some night shots to this at the end of the video so you can check that out. So now moving on to the user interface. Another thing I really like about it is that, you know, I'll push it down to unlock it. You can half press the main power button right here. So you half press that, and at first it will show you your battery level, which is nice, and then you could press it again and cycle through the modes. So it starts off at 15 and then 100, 400, 1200. So you can cycle through that, but the nice thing is that you don't have to turn the light on to see the mode that you want to select. So you can get to the mode you want and then fully press it down, and then it will turn that on, and then you can see the runtime right there. The battery's been used a little bit. You normally get about 2 hours, but that's on the high mode. So that's really cool. It will show you that for all the different modes. Just to show you briefly, on 15 lumens you get in about 57 hours and 15 minutes, you know, with 90% battery, and then cycling over to 100 lumens you get 12 hours 39 minutes, 400 lumens 2 hours 42 minutes, so it drops off significantly, but that's still a great amount of runtime. Then 1200 again, an hour 51, and then with the turbo settings you half press this one. Click that again to turn it off. Oh, before I move on, I don't want to forget that if you half press this button, it will turn on the ultra low mode until you release. But if you do half press and then full press, it will go back to that memory mode. But I just happen to be in 15, so same in 400 medium. Half press for moon mode, and if I want to go straight into medium, I just full press, which is nice. You know, I thought a lot about the UI. So with the turbo and searchlight, we're not turbo, they call it Lumen shield, as you can see right there. In the searchlight, you half press for the searchlight, and when you do it, try and not blind you guys too much, but when you do it, you can see 3000 lumens and then the amount of time remaining on that. And I'll just briefly shine it next to, that was Lumen shield, but you can see it times out, and now I have to wait until this goes back on. You can press it before it goes back on, but ideally you would wait to get the full output again. So now the full press down, I'll start playing it this way. You can see 6500 lumens, you know, it goes pretty quickly, but I mean just massive light. I'm not even pointing it directly at the camera, now I am obviously, but you know, steps down, definitely gets warm. But you know, that's really nice. You get, you know, only a burst of light at that level, but it is still a decent amount of time, you know, 5 to 10 seconds approximately, depending if it's search or Lumen shield. And I just think that name Lumen shield is a pretty badass branding as well. So far I'm really impressed with this light. A lot of innovative features, a lot of attention to detail, like these little grips and this kind of stuff. Love the OLED display. Love how it shows the runtime, the battery. That's great information. Wish the pocket clip was a little bit deeper. It did come with a badass lanyard. So, you know, that's the box it came with. And then I'll briefly just show from this. You can pause the video if you want, just to get this information right here. I'll zoom in with the video for the runtimes. And I definitely highly recommend reading this if you do decide to buy the light, because there are some small little things. I did go over a lot of it in the video, but it's good to refresh yourself and read that again. So, you know, in conclusion, I really like this light a lot. I would highly recommend it, and I think that, you know, it's ticking a lot of boxes for me. It's innovative. It's relatively sized in a way that it's still possible to carry, especially because it's slim profile. It lends itself nicely to a back pocket. It's got, you know, cool features. It's got multiple bulbs, you know, got a lot going on. Even the little thing like the manual lockout button, I mean, that's really cool. I've never seen that before, and I like that a lot. And the overall build quality feels really firm, nice in the hand. So I am really impressed with this light so far. here at the lake to do some beam shots of the Nitecore EDC29 with the Lumen shield. Let's do it. Alright, so press this top button to cycle through the modes. We're going to start off in our ultra low, which is going to be 15 lumens. Click that on. You can see it around even with the flash obscuring the view a little bit. Very nice. Alright, turn the light off. Now let's cycle to 100 lumens. See that? Click it on. That's going to be your regular low mode. That is going to run for, let's see, 13 hours. So now turn that off. We're going to cycle through again. So up to medium at 400 lumens. Turn that on, and that's really a nice sweet spot. Get some nice throw. You can see it kind of reaching out over there. You know, very nice. And that was going to run for, I'm sorry, 1 second, 3 hours. So now let's switch to the high mode, which is 1200 lumens. Turn that on. You can see you really got some nice reach going out there with the throw. Very nice hot spot. Oh, 1 second, let's see that again. That is running for 2 hours. Alright, so now let's do the searchlight mode, which is going to be the 3000 lumens by pressing this with a half press. So that's nice. You can see that on the other side by the trees. Really reaching out there. Very nice. Alright, you can see now, you know, it's cooling down. How much time I have to wait to do it again. It's ready to go. So now I'm going to go with the Lumen shield, 6500 lumens. Ready, 1, 2, 3. And you can just see you got the throw and flood. Unbelievable. Really nice output. But you see it does have a throttle time, so you can only do it for so long. But really cool. Lock the light out with the physical button. And that's all. Hope you enjoyed. Impressions and review is definitely a double thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it informative, learned something, and definitely come back and check out the channel again. I review a whole bunch of different stuff. If you have any ideas or anything that you want me to check out, I definitely am open to feedback, and I really appreciate your support. And if you could share this with friends, family, and subscribe and hit that bell, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Take care.